So scented cross stitch, box number 12. So we're at the end of your 12 days of Craftmas, and I've left the scented cross stitch till last because it's going to take a little bit longer than the other crafts that were included in the advent calendar. So you should have everything you need in the box, including 2 pieces of Aida fabric, a ribbon to hang it up, your seed beads that are carefully wrapped in a little bit of cotton, so do be careful when you open them, they don't get everywhere. The coloured flosses that you're going to need to embroider the cross stitch. You've got 2 needles, one attached to the cardboard and one in a little packet. The smaller one that's attached to the cardboard is going to be used when you attach the seed beads, because this needle won't fit through the seed bead. But for the bulk of the cross stitch you can use this needle until you get to adding the seed beads, and then you'll need to switch to the smaller one. Also included was some stuffing that contains this Christmas spice fragrance oil, so I'm hoping that when you open the box you had a lovely fresh smell of Christmas. So if you are familiar with cross stitch, then you probably don't need to watch this video because you'll know exactly what to do. But if you're new to cross stitch, then I'm just going to show you how to get started. So the important thing is that you're not going to use the embroidery floss as it comes. You need to separate it down and use one strand. So they're 6 stranded, and you need to get it so that you're holding it in the middle, and then you're going to pull one of the strands away from the others and pop your finger through the gap that you create, and then gently with your thumb and holding the string in your hand, let it unravel and pull that strand to the end like that, and it will come away, and let it untwist, and then keeping hold of that, do the same in the other hand. Go the opposite way so that you take that one strand away from the others, and then it's this one strand that you're going to do your cross stitch with. You're going to bring the 2 ends together, and then you're going to thread those 2 ends through your needle. Now I'm going to show you with slightly larger scale for the purpose of this video. So I've got myself a large piece of Aida fabric where the holes are much bigger so that you'll be able to see them on my video. Rather than splitting my threads into just one strand, I've split it so that I've got 3. So I've halved it. But this is just for the purpose of the video so that you can see it. So I pop the 2 ends together, and I'm going to thread those through my big chunky needle that you'll be able to see, hopefully. Okay. And the reason we're putting them through like that is so that we create a loop at the end. And that's going to stop us needing a knot. So just to show you, you'll bring your needle through the fabric, not all the way, leaving the loop behind, and then you'll go back through, and on the back you're going to bring your needle through the loop, and then that will hold the embroidery thread in place without a knot. And then when you're doing cross stitch, you're going to go all the same way to make it nice and neat. So I'm doing all the diagonals to the right first. And then I'm going to turn it back and do all the diagonals to the left. Like so. And that means they'll always look the same and regimented. Because as the light catches the cross stitch, it's important that the diagonals are all going the same way. Don't worry if they don't on this piece of work. It's not going to be hugely obvious because of its beads being added and the way it is. So there we go. That's how to get started with the cross stitch. So when you get started, you're going to need to get your fabric ready in front of you and have the pattern the side of you and work out where you need to start. Now, the pattern here starts from the stitched line. So this line around the outside is the stitched line. So you've got to count up 2 squares before you get to the stitched line, and then 2 squares on the other side of where that line's going to be before you get started with your pot. Find the middle of the fabric, which was here, and then you do 3 cross stitches on either side, and then just work. Once you've set where you start, it's nice and easy just to work your way up through the tree and then to the top where the star is. And then when you're done, you just need to put the 2 pieces of fabric together, and at an equal distance all the way round, you're just going to do a running stitch. So just to remind everybody what a running stitch is, so you're just going up and down, literally just like that. That's all you're going to do, but you're going through 2 layers of fabric, just up and down and up and down, and you just do that all the way around the outside, not forgetting that when you get to the top you're going to need to add the ribbon, and just carry on stitching through the ribbon so it holds in place with your running stitches. So just continue your running stitches and it will hold in place, and then stop before you get to the end, because you're going to need to put your stuffing inside. And I just recommend that you wash your hands after you've touched it, because it will have some oil on it. Once it's inside, finish off your stitching to close it up, and then you'll see that I've feathered the edge, and you just do that by pulling away these loose fibres and threads from the Ada. Just pull them away at the end, and then it just feathers the edges like so. And you might need to straighten the edges depending on how great my cutting was. You might just need to straighten the edges out with a pair of scissors, but you can have a look at that once you've started to feather the edges, and you'll see what needs trimming. Okay, so that's the scented Christmas cross stitch. Enjoy the final project that is your Christmas Craftmas Advent Calendar. I hope you've enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed putting it together for you, and I look forward to seeing all of your creations.